Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are continuing our stationery set creating card series where I have been sharing some of my tips, my tricks for creating not only in mass, but particularly if you are trying to create a stationery set for a specific individual, or if you just like to create multiples at the same time. So I shared a stationery box with you the other day, and these cards would actually fit in that stationery box. So if you wanted to kind of utilize multiple of the videos that I've been creating for this series, that would be a great way to do so. So let's go ahead and dive in. So what I have here is the Tailored Expressions Create in Quads. And this is a wonderful tool that Tailored Expressions has come out with. They have numerous variations of this particular type of product, and I actually own probably 5 or 6 of them at this point, and I really like them. And the reason is because in 4 stencils you can create 4 A2 card panels, and that is really wonderful, especially when you are trying to mass produce, you are short for time, you need to do something quickly, but also have it look like you actually gave it some thought. And sometimes that is a difficult trifecta to accomplish. And so these stencils offer you a variety of designs within the same kind of style. And you can do other things with these to step these up. But if you are really like short on time, just really want to mass produce, creating them how I create them today is a really quick way to do so. So the first thing I've done is I have taken, this is actually a scrap piece of HAMMERMILL cardstock. I had something printed on the back that I didn't need, but this is just a regular letter size piece of cardstock from HAMMERMILL. I taped my stencil to the cardstock. This is HAMMERMILL. I think I said that. Anyway, I just used some washi tape from my stash to tape that together. If you had the big 9x12 grip mat from Altenew, I would recommend using that. I just don't have that, so I'm just being lazy and taping. However, I will say that on all of these Create in Quads, they do have registration marks. So if you ink blend those in or pencil them in, every time you go and align a new stencil with those marks, you will have great and perfect alignment, and it makes it very easy to figure it out. However, I will say that these are not very difficult to layer in general. So, I mean, if you don't get it exactly right, it's not going to be the end of the world, and they're not difficult to layer. So if you're just starting to get into layered stenciling, these are a great one to have. That will help you feel accomplished, not frustrate you, and give you great results. So one of my other tips is to stick with the same color palette. So we have a product that helps you create multiple things at one time, and I am sticking with the same color palette. So I picked 4 colors, 1 for each stencil. If you were not so pressed for time, if you wanted to do things, kind of step things up a little bit, you could do various colors on each stencil. So for example, this one has cupcakes on it. Well, my cupcakes end up being different colors of blues and greens, like the actual cupcake part. If that bothers you, by all means, this is one of those that you could get a little detail blending brush and actually stencil the actual cupcake in a cream or a brown to actually look more like a traditional cupcake color. However, that did not bother me, but that is a way to step this kind of batch creating up. Another thing you could do is add pastes. So you could stencil in one of the stencils in color and then add a clear glitter paste over it. You could stencil one of them in actual, metallic pastes or mediums. That would be great too. So that would be one way that you could step these up. Like I said, you could do multiple colors on one stencil, but I am keeping it very simple and doing 1 color per stencil. I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video because it's very simple. I'm doing the same thing for each stencil, just 1 color over the entire stencil. My blending brushes are actually from Amazon, but I know that Altenew has ones that look very similar to this. Their handles are just all in black. So I found my color inspiration from Pinterest. At the filming of this video, Concord and Ninth just released their newest 2025 colors. And so I wanted to use some of those, and I wanted to create something that was very kind of modern and trendy, but also with this particular one, and this is the birthday, what is this one called? Let me see. Creighton Quads Celebrate in Style is what this one is called. And so you could obviously make these as, I just totally lost my train of thought, y'all. I'll eventually catch it back. But anyway, as far as colors go, so that's one of the ways that I find batch creating very therapeutic. I don't have to think. This is the whole thing colored in. Now you could obviously jazz that up with pastes and other mediums as well. So we're going to do the exact same thing for this is the Tailored Expressions poster prints, and I really, really like this one. I've seen lots of inspiration on Pinterest and on Tailored Expressions website for these, and I was really excited to try this one in particular. One of the things that you could consider doing with this one is having, if you have like a brother scan and cut, you could stencil this in, have your brother scan and cut all this out for you, and you could create your own patterns. That would be pretty cool. The one of these has some fairly small little accent pieces, actually two of them do. But like the bigger ones that have kind of the larger flowers and leaves, those would be really cool to have, like I said, your brother scan and cut those out. Or if you like to fussy cut, you could fussy cut those out and you could create your own patterns. So that would be a way to stretch these stencils and get more use and life out of them. So another little bonus tip for you. So again, I'm going to speed this up. I'm doing the same thing. So I'm doing just a wash of color over the entire stencil. I picked 4 colors. My inspiration came from Pinterest yet again. And I will list the colors I used. So the colors that I used on the Celebrate in Style one was Pistachio, Lakefront, Eucalyptus, and Rainforest. These are all from Concord and Ninth. And then for this one right here, the poster prints, I am using Ballet Slipper, Stardust, Midnight, and Pimento. Pimento is one of the new ones as of the filming of this video. Pistachio and Lakefront are also new. So I really was very pleased with how this one turned out in particular. I was really excited about this one. But the reason why I purchased the Celebrate in Style is because you can never have too many birthday cards, and I have a tendency to think that I have a little more time to make birthday cards, and sometimes birthdays just kind of sneak up on me. Also, my mother-in-law sends birthday cards out to her church members, so I have a tendency to kind of donate a lot of my birthday cards to her, just because she uses them a lot. So that's just kind of my reasoning behind all of that. So I am off screen. I am cleaning these stencils off with rubbing alcohol. That is a tip that I learned from Jennifer McGuire. I just spray them onto a flour sack cloth and just regular rubbing alcohol that you get from Walmart. The amount, like the concentration, doesn't really matter. I think the one I have right now is like 91, 92%, something like that, but it really doesn't matter. But that is a really great way to clean these off very quickly, because it dries very, very fast. It evaporates quickly. So this is this one all done. This looks kind of washed out in the video, but in real life there's a lot more contrast. So it was kind of difficult for me to capture the color correctly. So anyway, like I said, this is colored, stenciled on an A2 sheet of paper. So it's 8.5 by 11. And I am going to cut these panels down. And I'm just trying, if I've got something that resembles a straight line, I'm trying to follow along that straight line. If it's more abstract, like this one on the top here, that one, I could cut that with an oval die, I could cut that with a shape die, and have a completely different look. And that is another way to stretch these. You don't actually have to use them, as rectangles. You can use them and die cut from them different shapes. So that is another way to kind of stretch the use of these stencils. And I may continue, because like I said, I have quite a few of these now. I may go back and revisit all of these and do that very same thing. And if, I find color palettes that I really want to experiment with and play with, that would be a way to do that, is to, kind of stretch those out a little bit. So I'm just going through and trying to get somewhat even margins all the way around these. And like I said, if I see something that resembles a straight line kind of on this top right one over here, I try to follow along with that. So I'm just taking this to my Fiskars paper trimmer, which has a wire guide, which is super, super helpful for me, and just trimming these down as best I can. Once that is done, I am just gluing these flat to some Paper Studio black cardstock. This is kind of a lightweight cardstock, and so I'm just going to end up gluing these each down flat, trying to give an even border on at least two sides, and then I'll use that same wire paper trimmer to kind of even the margins out a little bit. I decided to go with a black mat. I thought that looked a lot nicer and helped kind of contrast and pop off the card base a little bit. So not only am I gluing our stencil panels down flat to the black cardstock, I'm also going to glue the black cardstock panels down flat to our card base. Another way that you could jazz these up is to obviously add dimension. You could layer these up. You could, add foam tape or dimension in various places if you wanted to. I'm going to continue again to kind of glue everything down flat. That is a way to help kind of speed along the mass production process, is to glue things down flat. The more steps you add, the longer it's obviously going to take you. If you are going to be mailing things, you always want to be kind of conscious of how much dimension you're adding. But in this case, these are probably going to be hand delivered, so it wouldn't be the biggest deal. But if you were adding lots of dimension and probably putting these in a package, all of the dimension you want, does not matter. You go ham. You do you. Now, once all of those are glued flat, here are some ways that you can, like I said, kind of jazz things up and make them your own and add finishing touches. So these are great just as they are. I really like them. I was pleased with how they turned out, and they were super, super easy to put together. But if you want to make things a little more special, you want to add some interest, here are my three, I didn't do one of them, but 3 biggest tips to add some interest. The first is a glitter brush. So this is from Spectrum Noir. This is their clear glitter brush pen. And I am just adding glitter to certain spots. I'm not adding it everywhere. This one, I'm adding it to the big balloons. The one with the cupcakes, I'm adding it to the frosting and the hearts. Another one, I'm adding it to the confetti. The floral one, I add it to the centers of the flowers and certain spots on the petals. I don't add it everywhere just because I don't think it needs it. And I want this to kind of draw your attention around the card, because if it's everywhere, it just is everywhere. But if you strategically place it or put it in random spots around the card, it helps kind of draw your eye around the card. So you could do this with, there are actually ones that are colored. You could do this with a metallic marker. You could do this with a white gel pen. You could do this with, Copic markers, just adding extra details if you wanted to. So that's one of my tips, is to add glitter or extra details using colored pencils, markers, that kind of thing. My second tip is to add interest and dimension and shine using glossy accents. Glossy accents is essentially just a clear glue that dries very shiny, very strong, and dimensional. One of the things that I do is I tap it on the back of the bottle usually, or on my desk, just to kind of help level out these dots. When it goes on kind of opaque, kind of cloudy, and as it dries, it becomes very shiny, very dimensional. And that's one of my other tips. So adding sparkle or extra interest using markers, pencils, that kind of thing, and then adding glossy accents of some variety is the second one. The third one, which I didn't do on any of these cards, is to add, pearls or sequins, gems, that kind of thing. That's another way to kind of cover up any boo-boos you may have, add extra shine, extra dimension, extra interest. One of the things that I'm doing, because these cards are essentially one layer, I wanted to add some interest to the sentiments. My sentiments come from Altenew and Pinkfresh Studio. The best wishes that you're going to see is from Pinkfresh Studio. The other ones are from Altenew. And I am popping those up with some Dollar Tree foam squares. I really like these. They are obviously very economical. You get a ton in a roll, and they're all $1.25. And the backer comes off very easy, and I really, really enjoy them. So that's another way to add some interest, is to kind of pop up your sentiment to help kind of draw your eye to it. So these are all of the cards done and complete. I went ahead and finished these off screen, and I'm just going to give you a quick run through of all of them. I think this one might be my favorite. I really like that pattern and just that simple high. These are, again, something that you could gift to someone. The beginning of the series, I showed you a gift box that I made for my dad. This would be a wonderful gift to put in there. Lots of variety of sentiments, and obviously everybody needs birthday cards. So I appreciate you spending time with me. I hope you have enjoyed this series so far. If you've missed any other videos, I hope that you'll go back and check them out. And until then, we'll see you next time.